Sound speeds, and welcome back to Mass Mics. Before we go and unmask the two microphones that are masked before me, if you have not watched any of the videos yet in the Mass Mic series, start right there with that playlist. Trust me on this, these videos are sequential for a reason. You can't pick up midway. Trust me on this. Thank me later. For right now, though, we're going to unmask microphone number 1, which is the Neumann U87AI. And microphone number 2 is the TLM-103, also by Neumann. These two microphones are very premium. Neumann is a brand that's been around since before World War II, and they got their stuff together. Trust me on that. This microphone, if you buy it on Amazon, is going to be about $3,200, and this microphone right here, the TLM-103, is about $1,100, and that's where they start. You can get kits that have additional things in them, like you can get the TLM-103 in about a $1,250 kit that includes a case and a shock mount and all this, foam that's fit to the microphone itself. The U87, though, on the other hand, usually comes by itself. I mean, you can get a case and stuff for it, but you have to buy it separately. Usually, it's just the microphone you get with the shock mount and the windscreen, which is just the windscreen is omitted from this right now. Both of these microphones are made by Neumann, a company that is very good at premium microphone building. They are high quality. This is a 3-polar pattern microphone, the U87, and is currently in cardioid pattern mode, which matches the cardioid pattern mode on the TLM-103. So you might have heard both of these microphones before as a popular voiceover microphone, and there's probably a good reason for them. The price point for one matches the quality of the Neumann brand. So hopefully you've enjoyed listening to my voice on these two things, but if not, well, we have 2 new microphones coming up for you next. But first, let me thank the 2 guys that loaned these to me. The U87AI is on loan to me from my friend John Maskew. Thank you so much, John. I appreciate it. He is a Pro Tools playback guy that works in the motion picture industry. The TLM-103 is on loan from my friend Mike Delgadio, the booth junkie himself. If you had not yet checked out Mike's YouTube channel, I don't know how in the world you find that channel and not his, but go to boothjunkie.com and that'll take you right to him. But for right now, let's get into our new microphones for this week. Get your listening ears on because we have 2 new masked microphones to compare in this episode. But before we get to the story, how about a noise floor test? If you've never been caught by a speed trap, you probably at least know what one is. And there's a very well-known speed trap just south of Atlanta in a town called Peachtree City. The reason why it's a speed trap is because 2 Georgia highways come together, and at this point, they are 2 lanes on either side of the road, and then when they come together, they suddenly widen out to 4 lanes on either side. And at that point, because there's these 2 main highways converging and crossing and intersecting there, all of a sudden you have a whole bunch of businesses there. Businesses that will put up signs all over the street, and that's when you find all these extra signs of do not turn right on red and all the other ones that you would normally see mixed in with all of them. And there are also speed limit signs where they suddenly drop from 55 miles an hour down to 40 miles an hour. Another reason this is a speed trap is because there are streets carefully placed just over 500 feet away from those speed limit signs where those drop. Now, in the state of Georgia, if you pass a speed limit sign, you have 500 feet to adjust your speed before you are going to be eligible to get a speed ticket. So if it drops 15 miles an hour, you have about 500 feet to adjust your speed accordingly, and if you don't after that, it's all fair game. However, it's kind of ironic, wouldn't you think, that right there on the other side of where those speed limit signs are, there is a little road at like 510 feet or 525 feet, depending on the way you come in. And the cops definitely know about those roads because that's where they hang out. And interestingly enough, when I got pulled over, there was no working traffic light or not working traffic light. There was no light that was illuminating that road where the police officer was hanging out. Not that that's an excuse, but I'm just saying that I was caught in a time that was, was kind of shady, in my opinion. Now, I know what you could say. You at least broke the law because you didn't see the speed limit sign drop. And yes, however, it's very overwhelming. That's the reason why it's considered a speed trap, because it is very overwhelming, that area, when the speed limit suddenly drops 15 miles an hour as the road widens out and there's a whole bunch of new signage and all these lights and stuff for you to see. Plus, it was 3 a.m. Now, the reason why this was also especially bad is because the police officers in Peachtree City were often hired by the TV show I was working on in order to hold up traffic so that we could drive through places. They were anytime we were driving on the road, for example, or we had to do some road closings, they were always involved in that. They were involved in the show quite often with us. Sometimes we would hire them to patrol certain areas and make sure that we were having secure locations, things like that. So they were making a lot of money off of us. But one of the things they also learned, probably by overhearing things at catering or just in general, is our schedule. As a general rule, we try to stick to a 12-hour day on that show. So if they started seeing us coming in at, let's say 7:30 in the morning, and the car suddenly stopped going on those roads that led to our studio at 8 a.m., they would suddenly in their mind say, okay, in about 12 and a half and 13 hours from now, we're going to start watching for the crew members to come out of the crew parking. And it wasn't just crew parking. There were different other places that they could be and hide and wait for us on the other side of those speed traps. And because, if you're working a long day, 12 hours or whatever, and it's 3 a.m. and you're just trying to get home, if you're not overly familiar, because there are a lot of day players that work on these shows. It's not just long-standing crew. But in this case, when I was pulled over, I got a speeding ticket for going 14 miles an hour over the speed limit. Actually, I take that back. It was 18 miles an hour over the speed limit, but I had it reduced, and here's why. When I went to court, which they required you to do, you couldn't pay it online. They said you need to come to court and do the arraignment day. The arraignment day is when you say guilty, not guilty, claim nolo, whatever the case may be. However, what I said was, okay, you did get me, but I was not driving the 18 miles an hour over the speed limit. I was driving 14, because 14 is the magic number. If you were driving below 14 miles an hour, it's not going to affect your insurance and cause a number of points to occur on your insurance. Now, I did not know I was speeding, in all fairness. I thought maybe I was going 4 over, because, wait a minute, it's 18, so 3 over the speed limit, because I thought it was 55. But they got me going 58 in a 40 because of the speed limit drop. So when I went to court, I said, I would like to plead guilty to a lesser charge but pay the full speeding ticket cost. Because really, all they care about is making their money in most police forces. And as long as you pay the full fine, they are fine with that. And so it's worth asking and negotiating, especially if you are just over that 15 mark and trying to get it down to 15, or you're just over 20 and trying to get it down below 20, because that will actually add more points on too. So if you ask very politely if you could plead guilty to a lesser speed but still pay the same ticket, chances are they will be good with that. So keep that in mind next time if you ever get a speed ticket, because it could help you out there. So what did you think of these two microphones? I'm not going to reveal what they are in this episode. You're going to have to tune into the next episode to hear what they are. But I hope that you appreciated the way that we blindly switched back and forth between the two of them, because they are both going to sound similar in some ways and different in others. And by comparing, you should be able to tell me in the comments below what you think of these microphones. So tell me on a scale of 1 to 10, which one, what you rate them, and tell me which one you liked more, microphone 1 or microphone 2. I'm not going to tell you what they are right now. They are going to be my secret. But until the next episode, take care. Have a question you'd like answered or want to add something? Be sure to write it in the comment section down below. You can also make a suggestion for future topics of discussion. Again, comment section down below, or you can email me at soundspeeds@yahoo.com. Be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you won't miss out on future sound advice.